Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvadha Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Saha Viryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste and welcome to the final session of our Vedanta and daily living session. In the last session, we saw how a jnani, a person who attains enlightenment, we saw how the three types of karma do not affect him. And as a consequence of that, he's not born again. Because we looked at the karma circle, and there are three types of karma, namely Sanchita, Agami, and Prarabdha. We saw how upon enlightenment, Sanchita karma is burnt away, leaving behind just Agami and Prarabdha. And whatever actions he does, in other words, Agami karma, that Agami karma does not bind him for the reason that he doesn't have an identification with the gross and subtle body that does the karma. He doesn't have an identification with the gross and subtle body that does the karma. Okay? So as a result of that, the Agami karma also has no effect on him. So Sanchita karma is gone. Agami karma is also doesn't bind him in any way, doesn't affect him in any way, leaving him with just the Prarabdha karma. So the Prarabdha karma, we give the example of how the Prarabdha karma is like an arrow that has been shot. It has to complete its course and hit the target. So the Prarabdha karma has already started to unfold for the enlightened person, and that is why he has taken on a human birth in this particular birth. And the enlightened person will just see out. He will just see out that Prarabdha karma to its fruition. And upon the completion of the Prarabdha karma, his time on earth, or rather the time for the gross body will come to an end. Gross and subtle body will all come to an end. And there is no more birth again for the enlightened person. This was what we saw in the last session. Okay. So in the next two verses in Tattvabodha, the author is praising, or rather not praising, he is articulating what should our attitude be towards a man of realization. How should we relate to a self-realized person? Okay. So for the blue book, it's page 366. Page 366. Kinchaye jnaninam stunbanti bhajanti archayanti tan prati jnani kritam agami punyam gacchati. He's saying that those who praise, those who serve, and those who worship the wise men, to them goes the agami punya done by the wise men. That means he's saying that the agami karma, this is as good as saying that the agami karma that is done by the man of realization. Remember I said it doesn't bind on him, right? So that karma, if there is a punya that would typically be allotted to the doer, in this case, that punya goes to the people who worship the wise men. Okay? It goes to the people. So if you worship the wise men, you get the punya of the agami karma done by that self-realized person. Okay? This is first part. Conversely, the opposite, which is the next verse, ye jnaninam nindati dvishanti dukkha pradhanam kurvanti tan prati jnani kritam sarvam agami kriyamanam yad avachyam karma papatmakam tat gacchati. So the opposite is also true. To those who abuse verbally, dislike, give discomfort. In other words, you create problems for the wise man, for the self-realized person. To these people will go the entire agami karma that is being done by the jnani, which cannot be described and is of the nature of papa. That means what they're trying to say is that if there is a papa, supposedly a papa karma done by the jnani, it will go to the people who despise or ill-treat or create inconvenience or abuse such a jnani. Okay, that is what the Tattva is saying. Okay, this is quite a unique verse because I've not come across a point like that in other Prakarana Granthas or even the other texts. So it's quite unique to Tattva Bodha where they say this. That means they're saying essentially that the punya karma, the karma, if there's a punya acquired from punya to be accrued from a karma done by the self-realized person, it will go to you if you worship the jnani. And if you despise the jnani, if he happens to do something wrong, that papa will come to you. All about agami, nothing to do with Sanchita and Prarabdha. Only agami, that means the karma that he is going to do. Okay? So, the first part is easy. That's why, that is the reason why people often see a man of realization as a person worthy of worship. A person of realization normally will have devotees, followers, primarily because if he lives in society, he may choose to teach, he may choose to become a teacher, and as a result of that, people flock to him for the purpose of learning. So that's one point. Otherwise, in our Hindu tradition, there have been cases where people worship a self-realized person, also because out of respect, out of reverence, and also with a view to see how I can assimilate the good points that person may manifest in his life. So there are multitude of reasons why people go to a self-realized person and worship him, adore him, and show him lots of respect. So the first part is quite easy. The second part is the tricky part because the question arises then, does a self-realized person do papa karma that can actually accrue to the people who despise him? The answer would be that the probability is very low, but not impossible, maybe possible. But then the question, again, as a student of Vedanta, we shouldn't be abusing or despising or criticizing or putting down anybody, let alone a self-realized person. So let's not dwell too much on this point, because we shouldn't despise, criticize anyone. So the question of despising a self-realized person is not even there. So these are the two verses that Tattva Bodha is talking about how we should relate to the jnani. The jnani, for his part, he doesn't have a sense of doership. So the agami karma, whatever karma he may be seen to be doing, which may be in the form of social service or even teaching. Teaching is also a form of karma. When he is doing this, he doesn't have a sense of ownership that he's the doer. He doesn't have it. His actions are all the will of the Lord. Okay? He's like, remember we saw in the last verse, they said his karma actions are like, his karma is like a water on a lotus leaf. It doesn't bind him at all, and he's totally unconnected with it. Okay? As such, he has got no karma pala accruing to him. Okay? So, moving on, the next verse, page 370, it's a very important verse of Tattva Bodha. Tatacha Atmavid samsaram tirtva Brahmanandam ihaiva prapnoti. So he's saying that an Atmavid, that means a knower of Atma. What is a knower of Atma? A knower of Atma is the person who has known Atma. Whose Atma? Atma is only one, right? So he has known Atma. He has known his true self as Atma, pure consciousness as awareness. He has known himself fully. Such a person is called an Atmavid. Atmavid or Brahmavid. Okay? So such an Atmavid, one who has known his true essence, a self-realized person. For him, what is he saying? It is saying that is samsaram tirtva. That means he crosses the samsara. Samsara here refers to the cycle of birth and death. He crosses it. In other words, he escapes from that cycle and he is no longer subjected to birth and death again. And then he attains Brahmanandam. Remember in our very first class, we spoke about Brahmanandam, unalloyed bliss, absolute happiness, unalloyed by anything else, and always existent. That Brahmanandam, Nityanandam, right? That Brahmanandam, Prapnoti, he gains. The Atmavid gains Brahmanandam. Okay, Brahmanandam, Prapnoti. When does he gain the Brahmanandam? After his death? No, not after his death. Iha eva, here itself. That means while he's still on earth, even while he's still living in that human form, he gains that Brahmanandam. Okay, so Tatacha Atmavid, firstly Samsaram Titva, okay, he crosses Samsara, and Brahmanandam Prapnoti Iha eva. Here itself he gains Brahmanandam. So says Tattva Bodha. And then moving on, it says something else. Having Brahmanandam is, remember, only part of the equation, remember? Suka Prapti, remember our finals, we said what's our goal of studying Tattva Bodha? Brahmanandam, there's just Suka Prapti, right? To get lots and lots of Sukha. But no point having Sukha if I also have sorrow, correct? I must have Sukha Prapti and I must duka nivrtti. I must have happiness and I must not have sorrow. Both conditions must be met. So one condition met already, Sukha Prapti obtained already, right? Brahmanandam. Fine, one box ticked. Second box is the next verse. Tarati, this page 371. Tarati, shokam atmavid iti shrutehe. Okay? So he again crosses sorrow. That means he doesn't have any sorrow. The Atmavid, tarati shokaha. Okay? This is a verse from the Chandogya Upanishad. He's quoting a verse from Chandogya Upanishad. Tarati shokam atmavid. Means the Atmavid, knower of Atma, crosses sorrow. He does not have any sorrow. He's not subjected to any sorrows, affliction, stress, fear, anxiety, nothing of that sort. Okay? This is a quotation lifted directly from Chandogya Upanishad. And in Chandogya Upanishad, why does this phrase come? It is because there is an episode involving Narada and Sanatkumara, where Narada will approach Sanatkumara and tell Sanatkumara that I have studied all the Vedas and Vedantas, I know all the shlokas, I know smritis, I know everything, all the textbook knowledge I have, but I am still subjected to sorrow. I'm still feeling sad here and there. I'm not totally sorrow-free. I'm not totally sorrow-free. And my dear Sanat Kumara, by the way, I heard Tarati Shokam Atmavid. I heard that the knower of Atma crosses sorrow. I heard that Tarati Shokam Atmavid. I heard, okay, I heard this. Therefore, can you, my dear Sanat Kumara, can you please teach me the knowledge of Atma or Atma Vidya? And that will start Sanat Kumara on a dialogue with Narada, and where they will unfold the teachings of Atma Vidya. This is in Chandogya Upanishad. Okay, so here Tattva Bodha is quoting Chandogya Upanishad as authority to say that the knower of Atma crosses sorrow. Okay, Tarati Shokam Atmavid iti shrutehe. Shrutehe means using the Shruti. It means the Vedas itself, because Chandogya Upanishad is an Upanishad. It's part of the Vedas, so it comes under the category of Shruti, not Smriti. So he's saying that Shruti is saying this is the case, and the authority is Shruti itself. So it's important that these last two verses, because it is telling us, is reminding us rather, why we set off on this journey to study Vedanta in the first place, because we must not lose track of why we started this whole thing, So he's telling you, you're studying Vedanta because you want to be happy. You want to have Brahmananda. You want to have unalloyed happiness, number one. Number two, you don't want to have sorrow. You want to be free from sorrow. That is the reason. Huh? So, because people get confused, you're not studying Vedanta because you want to get a better job or it's going to get you more money. No, it's not. It's basically to see the goal of Vedanta is to ensure that a person is happy. He gets happier and happier and happier until a point where he's totally happy, and his sorrows will get less and less and less and less until a point when he's free of all sorrow. That is what the journey of Vedanta Vichara is all about. Okay? Always bear this in mind. Huh? Regardless of whatever Vedanta text is that studied, not necessarily just Tattva Bodha. Okay? So moving on, this is about the depth of the self-realized person. So now that he's a self-realized person, he has got Brahmanandam, he has crossed over sorrow. So in other words, he's free from sorrow, he is totally happy, unalloyed happiness, and he doesn't have rebirth. Okay, such a person now is going to shed his body. Means the Prarabdha has exhausted itself, and his physical gross body is going to be shed. In other words, he's going to die. And what happens here? Tanum tyajatu va kashyam shvapachasya grihe atava jnana samprapti samaye mukto sau vigatashaya iti smritescha. Smriti is saying, this is from Shruti. Just earlier was from Shruti. Now it's pulling Smriti for reference. Smriti is human author text. Shruti is God revealed text. So here is saying, Shruti is saying that let him give up the body. That means let him die. Either in Kashi or the house of a dog eater, Chandala. One whom all abodes have left. That means he has no special preferences on where to die. Such a person is liberated at the time of gaining knowledge. That means it is saying that he has attained Brahmanandam, Tarati Shokaha, he is crossed sorrow, and there is no samsara for him. Samsaram tirtva. Remember earlier on, the first verse is, earlier verse he said, Samsaram tirtva, no more samsara. So having these three being picked off and accomplished, it doesn't matter where he dies. Whether he dies in Kashi or the house of a dog eater, he is already free. That's the point that they are trying to make. Why Kashi? Because in ancient Hindu tradition, there was the belief that Kashi is called Mokshapuri. The place where you pass away. They believe that if you die in Kashi, you will go to Swarga. It's a belief. That's why people, until today, some of them, people wait in Kashi to die in Kashi. Spend their last days in Kashi. Others, upon dying, they will insist that they be cremated in Kashi. Others, even if they're cremated somewhere else, they will ask for their ashes to be deposited in Kashi. Because Kashi is Mokshapuri. So here they're saying, for this Jnani, he is not liberated because he died at a particular place. He can die anywhere. It doesn't matter. Because of that knowledge, he's already liberated. So where he dies is immaterial. That's what this verse is saying. He's already liberated. Okay? And then the last verse, it says, Iti tattva bodha prakaranam samaptam. So this is thus the prakaranam called tattva bodha is completed. And that's the last verse of tattva bodha. And with that, we've finished tattva bodha. Any questions just on today's few verses? Then we can go to the other part where we can handle other questions.
Okay. So for Shruti, you mentioned it's the Chandogya Upanishad, right? What is the Smriti? Are they referring to a particular Smriti?
For which one? For the sheet.
Smriti. It says so iti smritescha, right?
I'm not sure which one, but I remember coming across it somewhere, but at the moment I can't recall which particular Smriti is saying this, but I can check. But then, having said that, there are many Puranas, which are all Smriti, which mention that Kashi is Mokshapuri. Kashi Vishwanatha and Visalakshi are shrines which are dedicated for this. And Kashi is a city. There are lots of Puranic stories on how Kashi came about. And among other things, Kashi is linked to moksha or going on to higher worlds, better worlds, and things like that. Many, many stories in Puranas about this, but I can check for you where this particular line, where it compares where it says that it doesn't matter whether you're born in Kashi or whether you die in Kashi or whether you die in Chandala's house.
Not from today's Ravi, but Jivan Muktah, who has already reached enlightenment in this life, he would have nothing left to live for, right?
Yes.
So he
yes.
will be ready to die.
Yes. Yes. But there's the Prarabdha. Remember last week I mentioned that Prarabdha unfolds in our lives after we are born. Prarabdha unfolds at different periods of our life as we are living. Some Prarabdha may unfold when I'm 5, some may unfold when I'm 50. So that part of it that has started to unfold needs to see its course. And that is the span of life for which, during which the that self-realized person continues to live. In other words, he is resigned to the will of God, and the will of God operates such that once that prarabdha is run its course, it's exhausted, it's finished. That means the body is going through certain experiences. Both the gross and subtle bodies are going through that certain experiences while he's exhausting this prarabdha. Once those experiences have been experienced and he has exhausted it, the body can be shed.
Thank you.
This is the first question. Can experience be without consciousness? Basically, the question is whether when someone goes through an experience, can it be without consciousness? The answer is no. Why? Let me explain. What is an experience? When we commonly refer to as an experience is a vritti. And what is vritti? Vritti is basically consciousness that is conditioned or qualified by a name and form. So the vritti is basically a consciousness conditioned by name and form. So as such, every vritti involves consciousness, because consciousness is the satya, vritti is the mithya. It's like a relationship of pot and clay. If vritti is the pot, consciousness is the clay. Okay? So, therefore, can experience be without consciousness? The answer is no, because every experience is a vritti. And a vritti is inevitably related to consciousness. Okay? That is the answer. So, there can never be such thing as an experience without consciousness. That is the first question. Anyway, just to recap a bit, I thought of showing the other slide as well. If you remember this slide, you see the last bullet. Thoughts and experiences are vrittis in the mind. Okay, thoughts and experiences. You have all these slides. You can go back and look. Okay. Second question: when gross body dies, subtle body continues with some total of papa punya. Are there core components that stay with the jiva in the cycle of samsara? I.e., at every birth, one or more characteristics remain constant? This is a very interesting question. Actually, it set me thinking. Basically, the question is asking, is there something in us that remains the same, that is constant, notwithstanding the whole range of changes that take place in us from the time I evolve as a lower life form to an animal, to a higher animal, to a mammal, to a man, Manidarai, Devarai, Sivapuranam will say, right? How I evolve to higher life form. When I'm going through all these life forms, is there something there that is constant? Actually, I thought long and hard about this. The only thing that is constant is one thing. Anyone wants to guess? Or is there something constant?
Karana Sharira?
Karana Sharira. Okay. Karana Sharira is constant. Okay.
Vasanas?
Karana Sharira, remember I said Karana Sharira doesn't exist devoid of subtle body. Huh?
Vasanas, Ravi?
Okay, Vasana. But Vasanas are changing constantly, right? Because the Vasanas I had when I was I don't want to say dog, when I was a cat. Okay. Until, and the vasanas that I now have as a human being, are they the same vasanas?
No, they're not.
Maybe yes, maybe no. Yeah, genetically, vasanas definitely, we all have. I'll have vasanas as a cat, and when I evolve into a human being, I'll also have vasanas. No doubt about that. Huh? But the type of vasanas cannot be the same. The vasana that I have as a cat cannot be the same as the
Different,
vasanas
yeah.
that I have as a human being. Huh? So the vasanas change. So the question is, they're asking whether is there something very unique, that means the constant thing that remains all the way. You know?
Chit,
Yeah, Karthik?
chit,
Conscious. Jiva.
consciousness.
Consciousness, okay. That chit is always there. That is satyam. Yes, correct. That is there. Of course. Consciousness is always there. Yeah.
Papa and punya.
Papa and Punya, so again, the Papa and Punya that I had when I was in 35 births ago, and the Papa and Punya that I
It's
have
also
now will
changing.
not be the
Okay.
same. Huh? The Papa and Punya I have, but it's not unique. Huh?
Core.
Actually, I could only think of one. You know what is that? Ignorance. Ignorance about my true nature. Because even when I'm a cat or a dog, I'm ignorant of my true nature as consciousness. Now also I'm ignorant of my true nature as consciousness. That ignorance, the primordial, the basic ignorance is there in all jivas. That's the only thing that is constant. Because other than that, we are constantly evolving. Vasanas, papa punya, all those things are continuously changing and shaping us, shaping our personality, shaping who we are, changing who we are as we evolve birth after birth after birth after birth after birth. You know? All that is there is that one individuality that thinks that I am limited. That is all that is constant. Everything
If
else changes.
yeah, if ignorance is one of them, it can also be the knowledge, the little knowledge that we have acquired in each birth. That also could be a core component, right?
But will it be constant?
Oh, okay, constant.
Constant. Because they ask the question is there
Yes,
some, I mean,
constant.
looking for a common thread, you know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Karthik, you have something to say?
Yeah, the level of ignorance also goes down with every cycle, hopefully,
What do you mean by level of ignorance?
uh, because from every birth to the next one, assuming you are getting purified and so on, so your lack of knowledge or ignorance will also go down. So in that sense, it's not really a constant.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm,
Mm.
that is a property of the mind. Okay. Okay, you can say that. Yeah.
So
Ignorant
in that
levels
sense,
of ignorance. But the fact is the ignorance remains, you know.
yes,
No,
true.
ignorance is, you see, ignorance is like that, you know. When you don't know something, you don't know. Okay, you can say I know something a bit more clearer, and the other person knows it a bit less clearer. The
Yeah,
fact is
I'm
both
less
of us are
blur and
ignorant.
more. Yeah, I'm less blur and more blur.
Yeah, more blur and little. Yeah, exactly. The fact is both of you all are blur. You know, you see. So yeah, but that's one way. But that again, it seems like we are splitting hairs. You know. Yeah. Yeah, Tilda.
Core component.
Hello. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can.
Yeah, I was thinking whether or not like the ignorance you meant as in it's the opposite of that immediate knowledge that you were talking about last week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either you have the immediate knowledge or you don't. So there's no like degrees of ignorance. It's just pretty absolute in that sense.
Okay, Aparokshna. That's also a valid point. You see, actually, yeah. So, Karthik, you see what Tilda is trying to say? That Aparokshna is black and white. There is no gray. It means either you know or you don't know. You know, which is also true to a certain extent. Aparokshna is the final certainty of who you are. If you look at that way, then Tilda's point actually is also valid in the sense that you don't have these varying grades of ignorance. It means ignorance is binary.
Not sure I would agree with that, because if I am progressing on this journey, at every step, I'm removing some amount of ignorance. And so that's what I meant. The percentage of ignorance therefore goes down. I think what she is saying is the complete knowledge of the Brahman. Yes, that is true. That is immediate and all at the same time. But the lack of ignorance, sorry, the lack of knowledge or ignorance continues to decrement with every little added knowledge. I think it's a way of looking at what is half full versus half empty.
Yeah, but
And
having said that, Shastras don't talk about different grades of ignorance. Huh? So while we can talk about it in secular subjects, we do have it. I know chemistry a little bit. Somebody knows chemistry more. So we can have varying grades of ignorance on secular subjects. But Shastras, when you talk, particularly when you talk about Aparokshna jnana, they don't talk about different grades. It is binary, So yeah. So I may lean towards what Tilda is saying.
I agree.
Point there.
I agree.
But again, the point, I mean, this is all academic discussion, because the reality is the mind needs to be purified. So until the mind is purified, there can be, that definitely you can have different grades, different grades of purification. You get purer and purer and purer. And as you get purer and purer, the chances of the Aparokshna jnana, the immediate knowledge shining through, gets higher and higher. And again, there may be occasions when you can be abiding in that knowledge for longer periods of time versus shorter periods of time. That could also be possible. Somebody else had a question? So I don't know if I've answered the person's questions fully, but
Ravi,
again,
this is Saro.
yeah, Saro. Yeah.
So is this based on the assumption that every birth you're getting more punya and less papa? Because that's the assumption, you see now.
No, cannot.
It depends. It depends. I wish you are right. I hope you are right. Then we don't have to do anything. All of us will progress.
Yeah, because I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
Because every birth is different. Yeah. So, I mean, that comes across like, it's an assumption, like, for instance, what Karthik was saying, the ignorance should get less, right? Maya should be less. Influence of Maya should be less. But that's an assumption that you're acquiring more punya than papa.
So it can be sinusoidal. Huh? You can have some births where you progress and then you regress. And then, yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
So, but Karthik was, right. Karthik was assuming that, at every birth we are on the uphill journey and it continuously progress. For some people, it's true. So he was making that assumption. Yeah, correct.
Just a comment, Ravi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember you said in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said that in this journey of evolution, we take off from where we stopped in every birth. If that is the case, ignorance also keeps changing, like Karthik said, you see. If we are on this path in this birth, we will continue to be, on this path in subsequent births as well.
Why? What is to say that in the next birth you may make choices that choices that hamper your journey and get you more entrenched in samsara?
No, but we are carrying these vasanas with us, very strong vasanas, and they will continue to raise their head in subsequent births, won't they?
They will, but your choice is also at play. Remember, we are not a fatalistic religion. We are not entirely at the mercy of vasanas. You see? So, even though if you have good vasanas, but if you make bad choices, that means the Agami is bad, you can pull yourself down. So, good vasanas is not a guarantee that life is going to be uphill. Going to be upward trajectory. No. Choices still have to play a big part.
Also, the other thing is what comes out of the bank account in one particular birth could be completely all the bad karmas that are manifesting.
Possible.
So, it's like getting a 4D or a Toto, right?
Yeah, true.
4D or nothing.
Ravi,
Yeah.
I have a side question, not directly related. But since the word jiva is mentioned, do jivas merge?
No.
So they retain their individuality.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Sorry, Ravi, Vasanthi here. Just a thought here.
yeah, sorry.
So, Vasanthi here, Vasanthi.
Hi, Vasanthi.
Yeah. Just a thought on the question. There's something that is constant throughout, in every whatever births or whatever we are telling about. Can we say that the notion to seek for suka is very constant? Because it could be of different degree, if different ignorance, but that notion of seeking happiness, that thing can be constant.
True. I will add on to what you said. Notion to seek happiness and also to duka nivrtti, to get rid of sorrow.
Yes, definitely. Definitely both ways. Yeah, that can be the constant thing, because as an animal also, it will be looking for suka.
Yes.
in that sense. And,
The survival
as a
instinct,
human
yes,
being.
correct. Yes.
Yes, that can be
Good.
something. Yeah, just a sharing.
True. So, Saru, you got the answers, huh? There are a number of good ideas from people.
Yeah, thank you.
Sada, sorry.
Sada, yes, Sada.
One sort of thought about this law of karma as we were discussing, which can be worrying, in the sense that when we keep talking about millions and millions, if not kodi janmas we might have taken, and therefore we talk about Sanchita as some massive bank account, it sort of leaves the impression, or has the potential to leave the impression, that what can I in this one life with one agami do to really wipe out so much, or lessen that. So then it has the potential of someone to say, I just give up, because you're telling me again and again, we keep on talking about crores and crores of births and so many births and so many actions, punya and papa lying there. What can this one birth of mine, where can I set it right? So what I'm coming to is, is there any discussion about this by the great commentators or the gurus to give us hope that actually in one agami, in one life, through your agami, you can truly wipe out everything?
Yes.
Or is it that we are making a mistake as gurus to keep on insisting on this crores and crores of births, and you have this huge bank account, and in a way psychologically putting down the hope of any redemption?
The crores and crores of birth, normally they talk about is with respect to the past. Having gone on this journey of Vedanta, typically the teacher will never discourage you by telling you that after studying Vedanta and studying under me as a student, you still got another crores of birth. In fact, the teacher will lose all his students overnight. No, next day they will turn up in the class. Okay. So the crores and crores of birth are normally how far I've come.
Yes.
Going forward, if there's the concern that, oh, my agami is so bad, then there is one shortcut. They always say that is the grace of God. Okay? Agami, you want to wipe out agami? You want to wipe out Sanchita? Yes, there is. Grace of God, lead a righteous life, follow the teachings of God, surrender, all the points, all the things that we talk about with regard to sadhana chatushtaya, as well as developing a pure and steady mind. These are the sure way by which you can accelerate. And that is the answer. The direct answer I would give to you, if you have the concern that, oh, does this mean that I've got to have another 100 more births before I get to merge? If you have that concern, my direct answer to you is dedicate yourself to developing a pure and steady mind. That number of births will shorten by a huge number. And I will go as far as to say, if you're sincere in your efforts, who knows, even this birth itself you may get it. Okay? It's entirely up to you. There is no law that says that you can't get it here and now. That is why the Tattva Buddha is so bold as to say, Iha eva. Iheva. And this is not the only text which says that. Even Mundaka Upanishad says that. Iha eva. They all keep using this famous line. Iha eva. Here alone. Here alone. So they are so sure that if that effort is put, it will commensurate with God's grace and you will reach the goal. That guarantee is there. Krishna says this many places in Gita. Sarvadharman parityeja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyoha mokshayishyami ma suchaha. I will free you from this samsara. Surrender to me, I will mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Don't worry, I will free you from this birth. That's a promise. Chapter 18, at the end of Gita, Krishna says that.
I just wanted to add, I think it's Viveka Chudamani, which also says Jantunam Narajanma Durlabha Mataha. And there it says, so since you've already been born as a human being, you're already up there. And then on top of that, if you have, I think it talks about Ishvara Anugraha and so on. So I think having come here already means that you've already crossed a lot of those. So those are things behind you.
Correct.
Just by way of optimism and hope.
Yeah, so don't lose it also. It's also a warning. Don't lose it and slide backwards. I will add one more to what you said about Viveka Chudamani. In Avadhuta Gita, it says, the very opening line of Avadhuta Gita, it says, Ishwarat Anugraha Eva Pumsam Advaita Vasana. That means it says that for you to embark on study of Advaita, that means to get Advaita Vasana, itself, I mean, the very fact that you can pick up a Vedanta book or get interested to attend a Vedanta class or even to listen to Vedanta, that Advaita Vasana, for it to arrive, you need to have some Ishwara Anugraha. Ishwara Anugrahat Eva Pumsam Advaita Vasana. It says that. Opening line of Avadhuta Gita. Okay? So, you've come a long way. That is the reason why you are here right now at this point in time, at this minute. Everything is Ishwara's Anugraha. So don't underestimate your own journey. And for that reason, you should be optimistic rather than pessimistic.
Aparokshna jnana, I think she's.
Aparokshna jnana. Yeah, immediate knowledge.
Can I clarify what it is exactly?
You look at the slides I sent you last week. Remember, we had the 3 types of knowledge: pratiksha, direct knowledge, indirect knowledge, and the third one that is neither direct nor indirect.
Okay.
That is the Aparokshna jnana we're talking about.
So I have a question, because through the BG class, the Bhagavad Gita class, you were telling us that enlightenment is not, it doesn't happen in an instant. It's something you slowly practice until there's no going back from it. How does this fit in with Aparokshna jnana?
Aparokshna jnana can be a final, you see, jnanam is something that it can come onto a person, but it may be sporadic, Okay. But the final goal is when he's totally immersed all the time. What they call as, in Ramana Maharishi's time, they'll call it Sahaja Samadhi, a state where you're always in that immersed. For others, it may be on and off, you see. So that is the journey we are talking about.
So that's why you said the pure and steady mind is so important, to make sure that it rests there, right? The knowledge stays.
Yeah, pure and steady mind is a basic prerequisite that you need to have. Before you can even have any semblance of that Aparokshna jnana.
So is it fair to say that Aparokshna jnana is actually understanding completely, like you said, not intellectually, but with the whole
experiential knowledge? That's the word I used last week, 2 weeks back. Aparokshna jnana is experiential knowledge.
Okay, so it's understanding fully what the knowledge is.
But not an intellectual or cognitive understanding.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so going back to our slides, I have to admit I'm not a subject matter expert on this. When the gross body dies, is there a moment of emptiness or silence? I'm not too sure about this. You probably have to read a lot of near-death experiences, and there are a number of books written on this, on people who have NDE, near-death experiences and things like that. So I don't want to comment on this because I really do not know on whether there is an emptiness or silence before it moves on. If anybody knows, please share. The last one, okay. The last one is about some explanation on Maya as individual versus in total. Okay. So Maya, now to recap, Maya is, what is Maya? Maya is Ishvara's power to create. Okay. Maya is Ishvara's power to create. It's inherent in Ishvara. Brahman, let me rephrase that. Maya is Brahman's power to create, inherent in Brahman. Maya is inherent in Brahman. Brahman's power to create is called Maya. Again, when I say create, it's not create in the physical sense. It's the right, more appropriate word is manifest. Okay, so Brahman's power to manifest is called Maya. Okay, the relationship therefore is one of Satyam and Mithya, ocean and wave. We saw all the diagrams and the pictures we showed in the slides. Okay, so that is Maya. So as a result of Maya, there is creation. Correct? Remember the Sattva, Rajas, Tama, Guna. Right? We said Maya comprises the 3 gunas, and the 3 gunas combine to varying degrees to manifest. I want to choose my words carefully. Manifest creation. Okay? Maya manifests creation. Creation means what? gross worlds, subtle world, everything. Correct? Now, it also, creation also includes, don't forget, it includes you. It includes you, it includes me, it includes all jivas. Okay? So, when jivas are created, when jivas are manifested, they are manifested again there with the ignorance of their swarupa. They are manifested with the ignorance of who they are. They do not know themselves as Atma. They take themselves to be that limited, gross and subtle body. And this ignorance is called avidya. So you can see the connection now between Maya and avidya. Maya is the macro level creation, and as a result of that creation, the individual jivas are there with avidya. Avidya means what? Ignorant of who they are, what their swarupa is. This is a relationship between Maya and avidya. So Maya manifests the universe, including the jivas, with the avidya of their true self. Okay, this is the answer. Saru, is it clear?
Sorry,
yeah,
Ravi. So,
yeah.
So the reason why I asked whether individual versus in totality is, it is still the same, right? Whether it's manifested as the individual, like, because whether it's manifested as an individual or in total, it is still the same.
What is still the same, sorry?
Maya.
No, Maya is the power to manifest.
Yeah.
What is manifested is Namarupas.
Okay.
The Namarupas can be the mountain, tree, jivas, or anything else. All the lokas, all of these are names and forms which are manifested. The power to manifest them is Maya.
Maya. Okay, got it. Okay, thanks.
Now I can open up for general questions on any particular topic on the entire Tattva Bodha.
Yes, Ravi. So this is a very general question. I feel that whenever there is too much of stress on result orientedness, right? There is always prone to be frustration or hopelessness or tension. But this whole thing of trying to run behind moksha, isn't it also a kind of result orientedness? So that's why people tend to ask, if there are crores of birth already over, when am I going to reach the final destination and all those things? So should we really be running behind something, or we just try to do like the other book you just, I always forget the name, the other book which you explained us in the middle, yeah. So you just follow some simple rules in life and try to just live life as it is, and you will eventually one day reach moksha. The more you keep on thinking about moksha, you end up basically in frustrations, isn't it?
You put it very well, actually. You put it very well. You see, we can say moksha, we can say, I want to chase moksha, I want to run after moksha. Anyone can say that. But to seek it zealously, it has to come from within. It is not like your paper chase and your rat race that you have in society, where because everybody else is chasing it, I want to chase it as well. Sometimes we do that, right? Everybody gets into you want to jump on the bandwagon and join the race and you want to run. It happens in society. But moksha, unfortunately, is not like that. You can't say, I also want to pursue moksha because everybody else is doing it. You can say it for fashion. You can say it because you want to sound spiritual, or you want to sound good, or you want to be with the in crowd, whatever, or the spiritual crowd. You can say that. You can try. But it won't stick. After a while, you'll get bored and you'll drop out. I've seen this time and again. Because this pursuit is not a straightforward pursuit. It's something where you see results only if you are serious about it. And if you're not serious about it, there's nothing wrong. It doesn't mean that you are a person or anything of that sort. If you're not serious about it, it doesn't come to you naturally. It is something that you just lead a happy life.
Thank you.
So I want to go on to add. You see, that's why, again, I bring you back to that quotation from Avadhuta Gita. It says, Ishvara Anugraha Eva, So even the fact that, even to seek moksha, you need Ishvara Anugraha. So if the Ishvara Anugraha is not there, you can say all you want that you want to pursue, but it just won't stick. So if someone says, oh, I'm not keen on moksha, it's fine, great. Carry on. There are other human pursuits. There are 3 other goals of human life: dharma, artha, kama. Lead a dharmic life, you can be happy. Lead a God-centered life, you can be very, very happy. Huh? Lead a life where you live for others, where you care for others, where you show compassion, you show love, you show kindness. You can be very, very happy because God will smile at you, even though you are not pursuing moksha.
Ravi, can I add on
Thanks,
something?
Ravi.
Yeah.
So in the Mumukshutvam class, you mentioned about the 4 types, right? Atimanda, Manda, Tivira. So I think it's up to us. And the whole journey is to realize Purnatvam and to get rid of our sorrows. But if the pursuit is making us sorrowful, then something is wrong already. If the result is actually putting us in sorrow, then yeah, I think something should
Very
stop.
true. Very true. So that is why I mentioned before, the journey must also be pleasant. Because Vedanta journey cannot be something that's so arduous and miserable, And then you say, oh, never mind, it's okay, I'm suffering now, but I'll get joy in the end when I reach moksha. No, that's not how it is. If it is, then something is wrong. Huh? The disciplines can be tough, but if the viveka and the vairagya is there, even while taking on the disciplines, I can be happy. I see a greater connection to God, and that in turn makes me happy. So the journey itself must be as happy as the destination. Very important. Because if it is not, then something is wrong somewhere. Something's wrong already.
Yeah, if somebody commits suicide, this also the result of Sanchita karma.
Suicide.
Yeah, if someone commits
suicide is Agami. Agami.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's a deliberate action, right?
Yes. So just wanted to know this, yeah. Okay.
Deliberate action, that means choices. Anything where a karma is governed by a choice you make, that becomes Agami karma. Okay? So when that means your choice is involved, so that becomes Agami karma. And Agami karma will naturally carry its consequent punya or papa. And in suicide, definitely it's going to be papa, because Dharma Shastras make it very clear that you're not supposed to take your own life. And therefore, you're committing a papa karma for which you will have other consequences subsequently.
So, yes, Ravi, those who therefore do kathor or kathin tapas, for them they are doing it joyously, whereas it is for the onlookers like us who treat it as misery, or we are seeing it as, we use the word tough. Is that what we are saying, that the reason that they're persisting with that is because they do not find it unpleasant? Yes.
Sada, when I tell you a personal experience, when in 1992 or 93, when I became vegetarian for some reason, I had my colleagues telling me that I'm foolish enough, because I'm so foolish that I'm giving up the enjoyments of life. Because they said there's lots of enjoyment in food, chicken and fish and everything. So their view was that I was subjecting myself to torture by depriving myself of good food. But I didn't see it that way. You see what I mean? So the same way, that's just my example. That doesn't mean that all of them are vegetarian, please. I'm not trying to say that. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that it's all like what you said. It's an onlooker's perspective. He may see great tapas as immolation, as torturing of the body and all that. But the individual who's undertaking it can have totally different perspective.
Raviji, thanks for taking us on this journey. I just want to go back to Aparokshna, something that has been burning in my head since last week when you introduced that. In one of your past lectures, you talked about Tat Tvamasi, and in there you had this on negation, neti, nirvana shaktam, right?
Yeah.
And in there you say that if understanding what I am not, I don't need to seek what I am. That is Atma. So Atma is being Satyam, is all there is left. So when you come to that point, it's still intellect and Aparokshna knowledge, intellect knowledge, right? How do I make that cross? What else is there. I mean, you talk about the basic requirements of a pure mind, steady mind, and the third part of the triangle was the self-knowledge. So when you've done all that, to get the immediate realization, I'm trying to find trying to understand what is.
I think you broke up. Your audio broke up in the last part, So it wasn't clear at the last part. Can you say the last part again? Your audio broke.
The last part is I read it on the statement you had on your slides on if you have gone through what I am not, I don't need to seek what I am, right?
Yes.
So if you got that and what's left is Atman, and you know that from intellectually, to make the cross over to get the immediate knowledge or realization, what is that trigger? What is it that we need to tell ourselves?
Okay, the short answer is the neti, the degree of neti. Since you mentioned neti, I'll use it. Huh? The degree to which you do neti is very important. It's one thing to say intellectually, oh, I am not the body, I am not the mind, Nirvana Shatkam, you can say, like a parrot, we can chant it. But to be convinced that I am not the body, that I'm not the body but Atma, that I'm the Sakshi, I'm the witness of the body, to be convinced that I am not the mind, I'm not this individuality, that is the challenge. That is where you need the inquiry, the vichara. That is the trigger. Because it's not, while we can intellectually say, if we are not convinced, deep down I still continue to believe that I'm the body, that I'm this individuality. Although externally my mouth is saying it, it won't work. I have to be convinced in the whole being, it's true that I'm not a body. The body is a mere object in my cognition. The mind is a mere mithya, where the satyam is the seer of that mind, the consciousness. These things have to be arrived, these conclusions have to be arrived at about myself in a very firm, deterministic and conclusive way. That is the trigger. Only then you have set the groundwork for Aparokshna. Otherwise,
if I go back to the example you used last week about an apple, you can see a picture of an apple and you can read all about it, everything. But Aparokshna is actually eating it.
Correct.
Right? Correct. So if I have the picture of Atman, I realize that from intellectually it's still a picture. How do I experience it? That's it.
Yeah. And why are you not able to experience it? Because you have taken yourself, because the neti is not firm yet. You are still convinced that you are the body and the mind. You see, this is the obstacle. That is why the resolution, when I remove what I am not, what I am there shines. I give you a good example. You know this Tirumandiram. In Tirumandiram, there is this wonderful line with respect to an elephant carved on a tree. An elephant is carved on a tree. Carved on a wooden block. Maram, on a maram block, tree. Elephant is carved on a tree. And they have this line, it goes, they say, Marathai maraitadu mamada yane. That means they're saying the elephant is maraitadu means blocking, concealing the tree. That is when person is ignorant. But having done the neti, having done the resolving, he sees the tree and not the elephant. Then they say, Maratil maraindadu mamada yane. That means the elephant resolves in the tree. Nothing has happened, The shift is purely cognition. At first, I only see the elephant, I didn't see the tree. Later, when I get the knowledge, I see the tree, I don't see the elephant. Maratil maraindadu mamada yane. Then it goes on to say, Paratai maraitadu pamuda bhudam. That means the entire Paramatma, the entire consciousness, Brahman, is concealed by Parmuda bhudam, by the 5 elements. That means the gross universe. And we look at microscopic level, your body, mind, sense complex is covering that which is the basis. And then it will say, Paratil maraindadu pamuda bhudam, means the entire body, mind, sense complex resolves in Atma. So just as how at first there's elephant conceals the wood. Then later I see the wood, I don't see the elephant. So the same way he's saying that the body, mind, sense complex has sort of conceal the Atma. And later when you see Atma, the body-mind sense complex is resolved. So coming back to your point, what we are talking about, the effort should be put at the resolution of the body-mind sense complex as Anatma, as not Atma. That is the 1880 exercise. We say not this, not this. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. I do that resolution. So when I resolve the elephant, I say that I will only see the wood. I don't have to physically destroy the elephant. It's a resolution that takes place in my buddhi, in my mind. Then I'm able to resolve the elephant, I see the wood. Same way I resolve the body, mind, sense complex through Nirvana Shatkam, through 1888. Then what I'll see is I'll see myself as Atma, as consciousness. That is the vichara, that is the exercise that is required of a student of Vedanta. Who shall I go to? Yeah, Shanti.
So this Aparokshna jnana is something like a switch. It's not a gradual knowledge you reach.
It is, you see, if you look at it, okay, I don't want to use the word switch. Huh? It is the certainty, the absolute certainty you have about who you are. Because remember, Aparokshna jnana pertains not to something else, It's not about knowing Taj Mahal. It's not about knowing about black hole or Big Bang or something else. It's about knowing who I am. It's your very identity. Not easy to dismiss your identity and replace it with something else. It's not a straightforward thing. It's easy to say it's easy to nullify Big Bang theory and replace it with something else. That's easily done. But to replace your identity of what you've taken yourself to be and replace it is something that is not straightforward. So that's the nature of Aparokshna jnana. And that comes with a high degree of certainty about who you are. Even if you have a little bit of doubt here and there, that's not Aparokshna jnana. Okay? It means you still need to do more mananam, more nididhyasanam. Remember? Shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. You should ask yourself, why am I not convinced? Why is it that I'm not convinced that I'm not this body, mind, sense complex? Why? What is the doubt? What is it that I'm thinking? So this is the vichara. This is the process of inquiry that you need to do as a student of Vedanta.
I had a question, but before that, I just wanted to make one comment on the question that Madhi was asking.
Yeah.
He mentioned that I think of a picture of Atman. That kind of phrase stuck in my mind, because if he's cognizing Atman as a picture, then he's objectifying something which cannot be objectified.
Yeah, sure.
And so I think that just a comment that I wanted.
I think he was using that as an example. He was trying to say it as an example. He doesn't need that you got to put a picture of Atman in front and then therefore I can become Atman.
Right.
I don't think he meant that. Yeah.
No, I just thought that was one. My question more was, I think the whole Tattva Buddha doesn't talk of meditation at all. I'm just wondering whether meditation is a legitimate form or attempt towards Chitta Shuddhi, as they say. And if there is any background you can offer on that.
You see, for that you have to blame COVID-19. Because if not for COVID-19, my plan was to do some meditation exercises as part of Tattva Buddha. But unfortunately, we couldn't. We will do it in subsequent programs. I think Zoom is here to stay. We got to find some way to try to do meditation via Zoom. It's not going to be easy, but we'll try.
Sure.
Yeah, Dr. Prasad.
Ravi, I want to come back to the notion of jiva again.
Yeah.
Sorry, because this is on my mind. Huh?
Sure.
Can jivas be created? How are they created?
They are created by Brahman.
Yes, but new jivas, are they constantly being created?
You see, it's a good question, but are they constantly created? You see, we really do not know this part, because there are, you see, scriptures say that there are many universes out there in the subtle realm. And again, their time and space realm coordinates are different from ours. And again, you have Pralaya. How many Pralayas were there before ours? We do not know. So we just can't look at it from this time frame, from this current Pralaya. Because when this Pralaya dissolves, jivas may all go into the unmanifested state and manifest anew in the new Pralaya also. And we do not know how long this thing has been going on. So are there jivas created newly? We really do not know. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
Because Shastras will only say about during Pralaya, creation happens, jivas are manifested, things that were in the unmanifest state become manifested. which includes animals, plants, mountains, rivers, Sanatkumara, Brahma, Indra, Yama, things like that.
So they're all manifested at once.
Is there a timeline? No, there is a timeline. They will say sometimes the Brahma came first, then he gave rise to the Sanatkumaras. That's how the Puranas will say.
Okay.
There's some hierarchy. It seems to suggest that there is a order, there's a sequence. It seems to suggest that.
Okay. I just wanted to also comment on Shanti's question about the switch. I think it's different in that once you have self-realization and enlightenment, you cannot switch off. So it's not a switch in that sense.
Yeah. She's saying only switch on, not switch off.
Yeah.
Hi, okay, so I have a question related to life with regards to the Tattva Bodha. After studying this and the Bhagavad Gita, there's a lot of misinformation that I come across, people interpreting different thoughts of Hinduism differently, and they spread it. And I understand that everybody has their own journey. I'm not judging at all. I was just wondering, like, I know it depends on the situation, but how much, or should we even correct this information or just keep quiet?
Misinformation.
So example is once I saw on Facebook, someone shared something that Hinduism is just about karma and rebirth. That's it. And that's not true. Again, I wasn't irritated or anything, and I'm not judging the person. It's just that I don't know my duty in this, and because they are not, people who look at this will not get correct information. So I'm just wondering what we're supposed to do, if we're supposed to do anything.
I can only share with you what I do on a personal level. In the context of Hindu, okay, maybe before that, I'll talk about in the Hindu Center, in the context of Hindu Center, at least in the past, even now, what we continue to do, we put out publications, all our activities, we convey information, knowledge, we share. That is one of the means to reach out to such pockets of misinformation and hopefully correct it. You see, like, Why Am I Hindu and Wish to Remain One? That booklet, we have an entire chapter dedicated to common misconceptions of Hinduism. We have a chapter, and then where we raise the questions and raise these misconceptions and answer them, like questions like, is caste inherent in Hinduism and things like that. We raise these questions and we answer them. Hopefully, we can dispel some of these erroneous conclusions. On a personal level, if I come across someone with that, I see how I can correct him to the extent to which the person is receptive, to the extent to which the person is prepared to listen. But that's about all as I can do. I don't know if anyone else got any better ideas. Is we good?
No, I think your earlier suggestion of if Tanuja comes across somebody, they can redirect that link to the link in Hindu Center, and that exposes Hindu Center as an entity as well as authoritative knowledge. Putting yourself as
yeah, so this particular video was not from a Hindu, but they were commenting on Hinduism. So I was even more perplexed as to what to do, because I don't think they're very receptive, but I still felt like this is misinformation. So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, hi. Okay, a friend told me that you cannot attain moksha unless you know who you are. How far is this true? Unless you know that you are Brahmavid. That's what I want to understand.
A friend told you that you can't attain moksha unless you know
who you are. Is that, how far is it true that, because there are cases that...
That's what Tattva Bodha is saying, right?
Yes, but there are cases like people go Kailash, they say there's no rebirth, and they go to Gange River to take a dip and say there's no rebirth. But they are not aware that, who they are. So I just want to understand this.
Okay. So the question would be, okay, other than Vedanta Vichara, is there other way to attain self-realization? This question had something in earlier session, somebody had also raised this. Remember, with Ishvara's Anugraha, with God's grace, anything is possible. So we have in our tradition great devotees of God who attain moksha, who merged with God without going through a process of jnanam, without studying Vedanta. Sorry, without going through a process of jnana yoga, it does not mean they didn't have jnanam. That knowledge could have come through God's grace or through some other means which nobody knows. So they could have seen their oneness with God in the course of their devotional spiritual journey, in the course of their devotion and connectedness to God. That is possible. You can't rule that out. Okay?
Okay.
But the point is that at the end, they still saw their oneness with God. That was the goal. The part about Kashi and as Moksha Puri, that's a Puranic story. But it doesn't. But you need to have a certain lifestyle and the logic makes sense. What's the point of saying that if you live a life of adharma and then just before you die you're going to jump into Ganges in Kashi? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. How is that going to grant you moksha? Obviously not. Obviously not. So yeah. So that is really the fact. Not possible then. Even you may die in Moksha Puri, you may die in Kashi. It doesn't mean that you're going to get moksha from there if you have done all the akramams. No way. Okay. That one we can clearly say that.
Yeah. So there's a quote that I heard from, I think it's Vivekananda, where I think at some point he said that perfect love leads to perfect knowledge and perfect knowledge leads to perfect love. At some point the two of them meet. And I think it was like a response to the questions of like, oh, whether the path of love and devotion and the path of knowledge, how do they come together? So I was wondering if, at some point you can go through the path of love, but in the end, if the love is perfect, you will get that knowledge.
Yeah. Why is the path of love leads to path of knowledge and vice versa? Why?
I don't know, it was actually like just a quote. So that's why I'm not very sure.
Why did Vivekananda say that? Why did Swami Vivekananda say that? But now having studied Tattva, can you come to the can you explain to me why that is the case?
I think when he says like perfect love leads to perfect knowledge, I'm just wondering whether or not if you do really follow that path, you will naturally go on, having the path of like the right and steady mind. You will naturally try to seek the knowledge, and somehow, even though it starts off not as a quest of knowledge, but for love, that in the end you will pick this up anyhow.
Possible, that's one way. But what exactly is perfect love? What is meant by perfect love?
I don't know. Is it utter and complete devotion?
Love for God.
Unconditional love.
Perfect love is Satya.
Perfect love, I mean, in our context, Satya is everything. It's all that exists. But perfect love, in the context of what Swami Vivekananda was saying, it's unconditional love for all. And unconditional love for all is only possible when there is knowledge. That's why there are two sides of the same coin. You can only love people absolutely unconditionally on the knowledge that God is in everyone. That Ekam Sat, that Satyam is all that exists. Aham eva Brahman. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All is Brahman. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. These are the premises on which you can have unconditional love for all. Otherwise, you will always struggle with unconditional love, especially for those who harm you. Remember in Pratikara, the Dashika, when we did the text, some of you should get back to me. It's not easy. It's not easy to love somebody who has done so much harm to you, who has hurt you in many, many ways, repeatedly, time and again. It's not easy to love you. It's not easy to love such a person. You're not being realistic to make this comment. Or Hinduism and the Hindu teachers are not realistic to suggest you. You see? But if you look at it carefully, that it can be done only on the premise that God is in everyone. And where do you get the idea that God is in everyone? You won't know it yourself. You only know it through the Shastras, through scriptures. And through Vedanta Vichara, you come to see it as everywhere, as everyone, as in everyone. You see? So that is why Swami Vivekananda was saying this unconditional love will lead to the knowledge, and knowledge will also lead to unconditional love. That is why in Tattva class we were saying, I keep on saying at many, many places, in the early part of your Vedanta journey, look at everything as God. Live a life where, a God-centered life where you start to see divinity in everything and everyone. When you see divinity in everyone, it's easier for you to manifest that unconditional love, even with people who have done you harm. It's a journey. And that you start with the belief that divinity is in everyone, divinity, with the belief based on Shastras and scriptures, that divinity is in everyone. And that belief is translated into knowledge as you study your Vedanta, as you do your vichara, as you do your inquiry, you start to see that as a reality. The belief and knowledge mutually supporting each other. And then you can live that life of unconditional love. You see? So this is exactly what Swami Vivekananda is saying. He's spot on there in saying that. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Yes.
Raviji, just I want not a question, but I want to share some experience. We are visiting this Ramana Ashramam every year, normally, myself and my wife. But only on reaching that particular Ramana Ashramam and on his Samadhi, that mind becomes, the tranquility comes to my mind. And many of the questions I would have framed earlier also in myself, they are getting resolved only in that place. Whether it is due to the great Atmas lingering still there, or due to the magnetic power of that mountain, or our mind is already tuned before going there itself. It is focused, or I don't know. Towards that Samadhi only, we are sitting in meditation or something. Many questions are resolved.
Thank you. This Ramana Maharishi had this feature, yeah, when we use that word, in resolving issues, resolving answers without opening his mouth. People who sit in his midst will get questions answered. It has happened time and time and time again. In our tradition, we have Dakshinamurti, Mauna Vyakya, Prakatita Para Brahma Tattvam Jivanam. Through the Chin Mudra, through his silence, he's able to communicate to his devotees the highest truths. So we have a tradition of that.
Hi, Ravi.
Yeah.
Lord Krishna, he was born with a human body, right? Even though he was Avatar Purusha, he was actually born with a human body. So how different is he from a Jivan Muktah?
How different is Krishna from a Jivan Muktah?
Right.
Jivan Muktah has got Prarabdha still running. Krishna didn't come with Prarabdha. Okay? Jivan Muktah, his Prarabdha, he got no control, He just goes through his Prarabdha. That's why this, they used to say Ramana had throat cancer. No, Ramakrishna had throat cancer. Ramana had some hand cancer and all that. It is something that he will just allow it to run. And it's something that's beyond their control. It's Prarabdha. Krishna was not like that. Krishna was not subjected to Prarabdha because he is Ishvara. He's Sarva Shaktiman. So that's the difference between them. Okay? Between the Jivan Muktah and Avatara Purusha. Avatara means is Bhagavan Ishvara coming in a human form. The unlimited deliberately takes on a limited form with full knowledge without compromising on his omniscience. That is Avatar. And that happens right from the time he's born. It means there's no evolution in the case of the Avatar. The Avatar is, from the time he's born, he's like that, complete knowledge all the way. Jivan Muktah is not like that. He works his way up. Okay?
Another thing is, if a Jivan Muktah, if he sees oneness with God and he's actually God basically, technically he should be able to, if he wants to, he should be able to clear his Prarabdha, right?
Can you replace your English? Can you replace the English word God with Ishvara and ask the same question again?
Jivan Muktah, he sees himself one with Ishvara.
Did I say Jivan Muktah is one with Ishvara?
No, Brahman. But Brahman is Sarva Shaktiman, right?
Did I say Brahman is Sarva Shaktiman? The three Sarva Shaktiman and all that is applicable to who? Ishvara or Brahman?
Ishvara.
Remember I said before, the omniscience, omnipotence is with respect to creation. Okay? Self-realization is not about becoming Shiva with the trident. No. It's about seeing what's your Swarupa, your reality. That's why I keep saying it's about your own divinity. It's not about you becoming God and then overnight you see me have Trishul and then I have snakes wrapped around my head and I become self-realized. I know I would like to do that. I would like to have snakes wrapped around me, but it's not possible. That is not what self-realization is about. Self-realization is about realizing my Swarupa, my basic essence, my essence as Sat, Chit, Ananda, which is what? Which is Brahman. It's not about becoming Ishvara. And then I start creating the worlds, I start creating different things. So be very sharp on this part about the relationship between Brahman and Ishvara. Ishvara is in relation to the creation. When there is no creation, there is no Ishvara. Remember, during the manifestation, that's when you have Ishvara. Ishvara only exists for the creation. If there is no creation, there is no need for a Ishvara. There is only Brahman.
So souls like, for example, Shirdi Sai Baba, like Sri Raghavendra and all that. So they are Mumukshus, but they are choosing to show some Ishvaratvam, is it?
Shirdi Sai Baba is a Mumukshu? I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I'm not too sure about that. Sometimes some of them, their life history, you don't even know, They could be partial, because the scriptures talk about some partial manifestation. Some of them come with a partial manifestation as avatars also. So some of them is not clear-cut case whether they are mumukshus or not. But they are all people worthy of worship.
Okay, I got 2 points. One, someone told me that the Shirdi Sai Baba and all the gurus that come, they've already attained moksha, but they come down to teach, like you said, in a partial avatar. I've heard that also before. And my second question is about...
what do you mean to say about that?
Nothing. I'm just adding to it.
Oh, adding, okay.
Yeah. The second thing is that, what about Lord Ram then, because it said that he was born and he didn't know that he was an avatar, right? How did he have any karma? How did he maneuver?
Who told you that? Lord Rama told you that he didn't have a knowledge?
I thought he wasn't aware that he was avatar only when he was going inside the water. Then he realized, oh.
Going inside water? Which water? Oh, Sarayu at the end, is it?
Is it right?
Okay. Ramayana got many versions. Okay. So Ramayana, let's study. Ramayana got many versions. The most original Ramayana, the first Adi Kavya, the first version of Ramayana is called the Valmiki Ramayana. Okay. So in Valmiki Ramayana, Narada will say, and there are many people, Narada, Valmiki, many people will allude to the avatarhood of Rama, divinity of Rama. Okay. But Rama himself will not acknowledge it in Valmiki Ramayana. Okay? He will not openly acknowledge that his divinity, his avatarhood. I don't say divinity is in all of us. I'm talking about avatarhood, his avatarship. He won't acknowledge it openly in Valmiki Ramayana, but others will subscribe to it. In other versions of Ramayana, like Tulsidas Ramayana and all that, Rama himself will also openly put up his hands and say, yes, I am Mahavishnu incarnate, nothing less. So there are many versions of Ramayana. Depends on which version you're talking about. I don't know. Have I answered your question?
It no longer stands. Then it's fine.
No. So Ramayana. So the fact is that the Ramayana story, the whole idea is to convey dharma, to teach people how to live a life of righteousness, to show unconditional love, to forgive, to show compassion, all the wonderful things that a human being can potentially manifest. If you were to use, put a role model there to show these qualities and say that role model is actually God himself, you will discourage people from following him as a role model, because they will quickly jump to the conclusion that this is something only for God, possible for God, not possible for man. So So Lord Rama, even though he may be God, avatar, he has to be kind of limited in many ways, and even some points to the extent of hiding his divinity altogether, so that people will relate to him better. So this was what Valmiki Ramayana was trying to achieve there. So that people come to the conclusion that despite all his limitations, he did not show any of his divine powers, and he lived a life as an exemplary man, and therefore all other human beings can also emulate him.
So in his being an avatar, did he ever create some Prarabdha karma for himself that he has to live out before?
Rama? No.
No.
Rama, no.
Thank you.
Avatars got no Prarabdha karma, don't have. They don't have that.
All right.
Ravi, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you spoke about creation, you said that there is the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. And there's another concept where we all have our free will, which is part of the antakarana, the manomaya. So we have a free will to do an action. So there's never a mention in our scriptures about evil. I find it very interesting because all other religions talk about, you know, the duality of evil and good. But for us, we say there is sattva, rajas, tamas, and we have the free will. And when we do something, there's papa, punya. That's it, is it? There is no concept of absolute evil, absolute good at all. Is it?
Which other religion other than the monotheistic Abrahamic religions have a concept of evil?
Sorry, what about our scriptures that say demons and stuff like that?
Wait. Let me handle this one with us, Saundria. Which other because
I was only thinking of the Abrahamic religions.
Huh?
I was only thinking of the Abrahamic religions. I don't know whether like Taoism all have evil.
Buddhism doesn't have it also. Not that I know of. So in our tradition, the concept of evil is based on the choices, right? The choices that you make with the buddhi when it comes to karmas, be it physical, verbal, or mental. The choice that you make, the intent that you have, determines if it is dharmic or adharmic. And then the papa punya accrues accordingly. So it puts a responsibility on yourself. If I give you an absolute evil somewhere, then it's very easy, you know. I can do all the akramam, I can do all the nonsense, and I can impute it all to the wonderful absolute evil that I have here by my side. You know, I don't take responsibility for my own actions. So we're not like that. You have to be responsible for what? For your own actions and the consequences. Huh? Yeah, Tanuja, you're saying about demons. What about it?
They do make mention, like sometimes in the stories, that there was a demon or asura. What about them? Are they just...
That demon never come and instigate you to do evil, you know. We don't have that concept. Yeah, so that's different. Yeah. That can be evil people. You know, that means if I were to become so evil, then I become an asura, you know. But that just because I become an asura doesn't mean that you will be instigated to do evil. No, it's not like that. Huh? It's different.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
If no questions, then it leaves me now to thank the Hindu Center for this wonderful opportunity to have this Vedanta and Daily Living program. I've learned a lot from this in the course of preparing and from all your lovely questions. It stimulated my mind. It made me think in ways not possible. And I always see this as a sadhana, and therefore thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to sharpen my own thinking, improve my sadhana, and grow closer to God. Thank you to all my teachers, past, present, future, for enabling me to share whatever I did. And finally, God's grace. Thanks to God, Bhagavan, without whom nothing is possible. If not...
Ravi, before we go to our closing prayers, I think on behalf of Hindu Center and behalf of all the participants, I want to express our deep debt of gratitude to you for running this program for the past 20 plus weeks. You have taken us on a journey very deep into spirituality. You have guided us and led us towards our own true self, at least closer to where we were when we started. So that in itself is a great sadhana, a great achievement for each one of us. You can tell that by all the questions that people have been asking. And I hope that we will continue to progress with you and that you will continue to guide us along this path. So thank you very, very much on behalf of Hindu Center and our participants. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
If it's possible, do you have the donation slide again?
Okay, just give me a minute. I have it.
I would really like to urge everyone to be generous towards the Hindu Center, because we do not have other sources of income or revenue to maintain our services and maintain our office, maintain our staff, and maintain all our programs. So whatever you can do, whatever little or a lot, we would be most grateful for you, to you. Thank you very much. Okay, Ravi, thank you.
Okay, do the closing prayer. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्य परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं शोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Thank you everyone. Goodbye.